Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode on Hastopods. So today on the podcast, I will be talking about the long term. I call it the residual effect of COVID-19, and this is a very special one, close to heart for me because, like I said in the video I posted on my Instagram, that you know from my own personal experience and the fact that I know people that are like families, friends that I know personally that are also dealing with this this very bad infection, this virus that is killing all of us and that's killing a lot of people in the world. I mean, more than 1 million deaths. I mean, the numbers are just staggering, to say the least. So now this podcast, like I said, well, by the way, for those that do not know, I'll also tell you that eventually. My name is Hassan, and well, welcome to Astropods. All right. So now, as I was saying, so talking about the long term effects of COVID-19, I briefed my audience, my listeners on my Instagram that I'll be coming up with this podcast that will essentially be looking at the the things that we may be overlooking, but the the medicine world, the health world, the science world has been alerted to this um, potential the sort of danger that we are about to experience or we are already experiencing. Now, I am not here to talk about things like as if there's no hope, as if things will never get better, as if things has gotten to the point of no return. No, it's far from that. But I'm just here to make all of us sort of have an idea and know where things are, know why things are the way they are. And it's not because I know anything. Like I said, this report is solely based on the Wall Street Journal report. And for most of us that have been listening to my podcast for a minute, you all know that I go far. I go like beyond far. I said I go. How's the word for it? I go hard to getting the information. So I don't just get from one source. I get from multiple sources. All right. But in this case, I'm just trying to focus on this one report. Do you know why? Because personally, I said to myself that since I got a COVID-19, I have, you know, I found out that sometimes when I eat, I burp a lot, like I be burping and like, what I mean, oh, I'm meant to feel better and my do I use the restroom? It's not like do I used to use the restroom and so many things like that. And I said these things are not does not put me pre COVID-19. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to just say something is wrong with this virus. It's not just the lung and all those things. Like there's something wrong with it, but it's not as if it's a major like a oh my god you gotta die kind of situation. But it's like something is not right with my organs. You know. So now when I stumble across this particular article, it really resonated with me, and I want it to. That's what I'm trying to share it with you guys. With hope that's going to resonate with you, and you, that you're gonna find something that is that kind of connects with you in this article. Now, the article's name, like I said, is on Wall Street Journal, and so it's called "Doctors Begin to Crack COVID's Mysterious Long-Term Effects." That's the name of the article. Really, is a long one. Is well detailed, very well thoroughly researched. It talks about how the virus affects our body in different ways, you know. I made this. I'm making this podcast for all of us. So because there are some of us that have already been that have already tested negative to the to the for the virus, and then we realize that yes we are negative, but then we can see some sort of changes in our system. This is a science report that backs it up that you are not crazy, that truly something is wrong with your system. Will it be life threatening? Maybe, maybe not. Now, so what my this is my take though. Um, well, let me just read to you what I wrote, what I already made up here. So no, so like I said, this podcast is based on the Wall Street Journal report, like I said, severe fatigue, memory lapse, heart problems are some of the things that happen to patients who once had mild COVID-19 disease. Doctors have discovered that the pandemic has a devastating second act. That's one part of it. It has a devastating second act. So now, so say doctors call it the post-acute COVID-19, and sufferers refers to themselves as long haulers. All right. In October, National Institute of Health added that doctors were reporting COVID-19 long-term related symptoms and disabilities from people with milder illness. Okay. So now it says here, I like this one. It says a recent survey of more than 4,000 COVID-19 patients found that about 10% of those age 18 to 49 still struggle with symptoms for 4 weeks after becoming sick. That 4.5% of all ages has had symptoms for more than 8 weeks, and 2.3% had them for more than 12 weeks. Now, 12 weeks, that's like 3 months. This is the thing. From what I wrote here, right? Because I've read it and I've taken my notes and write them in my own words. But the thing about this thing is this: COVID-19, right? It's a pandemic, like we all know, and it's not the first pandemic, and probably will not be the last. And we've had Spanish flu long before I was born. We've had SARS. This one is SARS-CoV-2, they call it. That's the actual name they call it within the science world. We have the real SARS that came, the first one in the early 2000s, I think. We have H1N1, Ebola, and all of these things that I've mentioned, all of these infections, diseases, always have their residual effects. But it's not like it's going to be hanging there for long, It's like fatigue, dizziness, those things. After a while, you'll be fine. But this COVID-19 is special in terms of its far-reaching consequence, right? Even after when it's gone. Remember that a lot of people in the news, they say that, oh, this person died of COVID-19 related disease or sickness or whatever. And we're like, is it COVID that killed the person or what? But say it's COVID-19 related sickness. I know people that were okay, older people that were okay, and they're still okay, but their condition, maybe their blood pressure or whatever, got to the next level as a result of this COVID-19 that happened to them. So you now begin to wonder. I mean, if you already have blood pressure that was already high, or you have whatever regular sickness, maybe blood pressure. How's the other reason that these old people usually have? High blood pressure, diabetes, and just of them. Let's say you already have those things. But the COVID-19 that you now had sort of make it to go higher. Now, the doctors will not tell you that that's what happened, but you know that if it was not for that virus that you had, you were doing fine with your medications. Now you got to go to the doctor a lot more often now. You know what I'm saying? So that's the issue that you are seeing in this. That's the kind of relationship that you are seeing. All right. So another preliminary study focusing on non-hospitalized COVID-19 cases found that about 25% had at least one symptom after 90 days. Yeah. So in my own case, why I said it's personal to me is because as I'll be reading along for you guys, you'll see that there's a lot of time they talk about this particular, what was the word for it? Dysautonomia, all right? A lot of things with COVID-19 actually affects your central nervous system, your brain, cognitive lapses, memory loss, the ability to retain thoughts and stuff like that. It kind of messes with it. And that's what I noticed. Like I said, there's a quote here, which I will tell you at the very end of this podcast, that there's this consistent headaches, all right? Headaches that I have been having. So it's not, so now that I know that it's not just me, that a lot of people are having the same thing, I know that, yes, I'm not crazy. And this is not Used to this is not the case for me before. I actually have headaches, but it's not like it's just there. It's constant. Like, maybe you stress, you sweat, or you whatever, or you working out, or. But this one is steady headache, you know, and it's not like crazy headache either. It's just something that you know that you can cope with. Like, I'll be fine. Like you're expecting your body at some point to fight it. And talking about that, there has been, according to this report, this article by Wall Street Journal, there are cases of your cells, your white blood cells fighting, and as a result, damaging other organs in your body. Now, my fear is this: hope this, I hope that is COVID-19 long-term effect that they call it long haulers, or I call it residual effect of COVID-19. I hope it's not something cancerous in someone's body, because when your cells start fighting an unknown enemy and as a result fighting his own self, it's like the case of most cancerous diseases. It's like your cell overreacting or overproducing whatever, and then it becomes like a tumor and stuff, and it becomes cancerous. I hope this COVID-19 will not in the near future increase the rate of cancer patients that we have in the world. I hope. I really do hope, because you have a case of your white blood of your immune system fighting something that they figure that is irregular. All right, let me keep reading to you guys. So that's one part of it. So it says here, with more than 54 million cases globally, which translates into millions of people will be living with long-term conditions. Another reason why doctors must figure it out soon, the extent of these diseases, but they're already pinning it into to the brain, because there's a connection with the brain. Even though the COVID-19 actually affects your lungs, but there's a report. According to the report, there's a science research that proves that they can find some of the virus in the brain. No wonder it affects your sense of smell and taste. Remember that affects sense of smell and taste. It affects it. It even affects your heart, your heartbeat, and that has to do with the what I told you earlier, the dysautonomia. That happens. So now I am no scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm just going off of what I've read. And like I said, I urge every one of us to go and check the Wall Street Journal report out. And the news came out some time ago. So I'm going to tell you the exact day that the report came out. It came out on the 1st of November this month. So it's not a new article, but it's one that is one of the most read articles on the Wall Street Journal site right now. Since we are 14, right? We're in the middle of the month. And this article that was published on the 1st of November is among the most read articles on Wall Street Journal's website. So that tells you something about the fact that people can connect to this very article. It's packed with a lot of insightful and intelligent things. And I know that more will still come out. All right? So now, let me go back to what I was saying. So we're talking about, because I put a lot of things here that I wrote in my homework, I read, and I'm just trying to reward them so that I'm able to, flow seamlessly. This is a serious thing, right? And I'm trying to not make a fun out of it, because I am a patient of it. I'm a sufferer of COVID-19. I am a victim of COVID-19, and it's not just me. We are more than 50 million people out there that has at one point or another tested positive for the virus, all right, or of the virus. So it's something that a lot of people can relate to it. We've lost a lot of souls. Over 1 million people are dead from this virus. In New York City alone, we've lost about 24,000 people. That is a lot of people. 24,000 people in New York City alone. Most of them are elderly people. And I know that there's a vaccine now, and they're trying to mass produce them, and so that we can get relief. I hope it works. I hope they are able to check all the boxes before they start injecting into people's body. But I am sort of excited that at least there's something that we can say, okay, we have a vaccine for it, because the vaccine's efficacy is, I said it before, 90%. I hope they do their peer review. I know science people are very thorough, so I trust them to do the right things. But let me go back to what I was saying about this one. Now, so like I said, outbreaks usually have a history of long-term symptoms, as in the case of Spanish flu, like I said, H1N1, Ebola, to name a few, where cases of fatigue, joint, and muscle pains were reported long after people were cleared of the virus. COVID-19 is much different because of its far-reaching effects, the virus' ability to affect other parts of the body, such as the kidney, heart, digestive, and nervous system. All right. So now there's a quote here from medical director at Mount Sinai. All right. It says here, I haven't really seen any other illness that affects so many different organ systems in as many different ways as COVID does. Let me say that this is a doctor. His name is Zijian Chen. He's a medical director at Mount Sinai. All right. He says that at Mount Sinai Health Systems Center for Post-COVID Care. So these are people that are in charge of that are doing the research, that are figuring out why things are happening the way they are. And it says, I haven't really seen any other illness that affects so many different organ systems in as many different ways as COVID does. That's the scary part of it, ladies and gentlemen. We have an infection that has the ability to really mess up your body, your entire system. We're talking about your digestive, your intestinal, your intestines. We're talking about the inflammation of the walls of your heart, of the vessels that pumps blood into your heart, inflammation of the heart. We're talking about your lungs, of course. We're talking about your brain. We're talking about your muscles, and so many other things. Even when you guys check that particular article out, you see what I'm saying. And if you have a COVID-19, if you have been tested for COVID-19 before, you will have felt some of these things. Maybe you are all the way good now, but some of us may never be all the way good. And that's one of the reasons. That was one of the questions I asked when I did a podcast on the Pfizer and BioNTech vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine. That will this vaccine help us with the long-term effect of COVID-19? After injecting this thing in my body, will it help me correct some of these things that is going on in my body that is not really COVID-19 no more? That's one of the questions that we should start asking. Because with this kind of diseases or sort of sicknesses will come a different kind of challenge now. Because this sickness can morph into something different depending on the part it's affecting your body. So we don't know all of these things yet. And that's the reason why these people are really working hard to ensuring that people know the exact thing that's disturbing them and how to treat it. Because you cannot be. I mean, when I had my first COVID-19, right? I just noticed that there was this crazy headache. My head was going to explode. It was as if there was a fire in my brain, right? It was really scary. So I said, what is wrong with me? Because I know, like I said, I'm not new to having headaches. Nobody's new to having headaches. But I said, how can I be relaxing and then be having this crazy kind of headache? I didn't know. So what happened is that I went to the bathroom. I tried to pour some water on my head. Maybe that would just make me cool off a little bit. It got worse. I have never in my life had that kind of headache before. It was a very severe headache. All right. I had to call my sister, listen, something's wrong with me. I don't know what is wrong with me. And I started using some painkillers. Nothing worked. Nothing. None of those things worked. So it was later that I now sort of begin to feel better by myself. So just check that out. So it could morph into anything. Now, so when this doctor said this thing, so it said the main reason for long COVID or post-COVID symptom is due to the compromised immune system activity, and ensuing inflammation continues to affect the organs or nervous system long after the virus is gone. That's what the researcher says. The researchers, that's what they said. Said the main reason of long COVID or post COVID symptom is due to the compromised immune system. That's my own word, really. It's not their code. I kind of, you know. And ensuing inflammation the ensuing inflammation continues long after the virus is gone. So the inflammation continues. You see that? Your immune system is compromised, and the inflammation of some of your organs continues. What's inflammation? Like some kind of swelling, all right? And it's not normal. It's not. All right. So now let's look at the next thing here, the next slide. So there's that part of it. So we talk about your heart muscle inflammation post COVID-19 proves the theory is true, because there's been cases that people have their heart muscle, there was an inflammation on their heart muscles. And the research is not just based on those that are hospitalized. It's about the hospitalized ones, the ones that are not hospitalized, and the asymptomatic patients. There has been reports that people have inflamed hearts. You know, the muscles of the heart got inflamed. It's a known fact now. It's a proven fact. Okay, so next thing here is that, like I said, so it was also reported that the virus could be found in the fecal matter and intestinal lining. That is, in your feces, in your poop. Are you surprised? Do you remember during the time when this virus was new, when they said that people should start wearing a mask, because the virus is more prevalent in the bathrooms in public places. So it's not you holding the knob of the mud that's gonna only make you catch the virus. When you go use the bathrooms, for our ladies that use the bathroom, for our men that use the bathroom in public places, or those people that you go to somewhere and they're not washing their even if you wash it, because this thing is airborne. So why is that the case? Because it says that the intestine have this ACE2 or ACE2 receptors, the type of protein the virus uses to infiltrate other cells. And that ACE2 receptor is found in your gut area. So this is just crazy. So now it's coming to me now why the virus was more rampant in the public restrooms, because of this ACE2 receptor that kind of protein. That's the protein that the COVID-19 virus uses to infiltrate other cells. You see you kind of see the connection where so it's not just your brain, your heart, it's in your gut. Your gut. Now that's a lot. That's a whole case on its own. With all this thing that's going on in the world, with the colon cancer, with the prostate, all those other things that's happening in your in that area down there for we men. So I don't know. There may be a case of prostate cases, more increased prostate cases now because of this kind of, if you can read between the lines. So we have a real issue here, guys, that we have to really begin to look into. Now, cancer may be a whole different thing, but something will always lead to another. But as I was saying, so it's proven now that this is a real thing. That's COVID-19 could find its way into your gut. It's already in your gut, actually. Remember that's one of the places that it was more prevalent in the bathrooms. Okay. All right. So the next thing that I wrote here, let me see, where is it again? So there's that one. So now neurologists say cognitive problem is among the most common symptom. Neurologists. This is personal because I observed it myself. I sometimes find it hard to remember what I was about to say. I lose my train of thought a lot easier these days. I'm talking about myself now. The loss of concentration and all these things. And I'm not alone. According to this article, people also have these kind of problems. You might have the same kind of problem. That you say that you lose your train of thought easily. You say something and you forget the next word to say. Neurologists say that this is the most common symptom of the long-term effect of COVID-19. Cognitive lapses. All right. Now let's look at the next one. Now, this fact is proven that COVID-19 can attack the nervous system, open a cascade. The fact that it's proven that COVID-19 can attack the nervous system opens a cascade of other things, right? Of a myriad of other things, things like like I said, your loss of sense of smell and taste, your cardiovascular system, gastrointestinal problems, tachycardia, blood pressure, heartbeat and blood pressure fluctuations, dysautonomia, and so on and so forth. Now, before I end this with a quote from a leading doctor, all right, by Dr. David Putrino, a director of rehabilitation and innovation at Mount Sinai Health System in New York. Before I go into that, what he says here, the thing I want us to know is this, ladies and gentlemen, the virus, even though you may be clear that you're good, you have tested negative of the virus, and which is a good thing, thank goodness. Now you have antibodies in you and so on and so forth. But it's clearly now that the antibodies are not taking care of issues like your mental lapses, your intestinal problem, your heartbeat, your lungs, so many things, so many other things, and it's a real thing. So what I'll say to us is this: personally, myself, I don't like going to hospitals. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not a big fan of hospitals, but I think at this point, I may have to check up with these people and see what is going on with my body, because, like I said, I am a personal victim of this, and this happens to me, and I'm not alone. There's a million and one of us out there that this thing has happened to. Actually, to be specific, 54 million of us out there. So, whether you've been cleared or not, try to go to the doctor, because one thing is for sure: this COVID-19 is nothing like anything that we have seen before. Its effects are more long-lasting, and it affects a whole lot of different kind of organs in your body. And the fact that it affects our neural brain is a real big-time red flag. It affects your brain, your heart, your digestive tract, and so on and so forth. Your muscles, your skeletal functions. It's all in the article. So go give it a read, read it. I think they have a podcast about it. Read it and educate yourself. But more importantly, do not keep it to yourself. Share this podcast with people. Go see the doctor. Engage me. Let us talk, because this is a real thing, and we have to begin to treat it like exactly what it is. This COVID-19 may not be the one that will kill you. It may be the effect of things that happen to your body as a result of the virus that will badly hurt you. As you know, your body itself is fighting this virus, and it may now overreact, and then by so doing hurt other organs within your body. Who's suffering? It's still you. It's still me, and we have to take it seriously. So now let's back to the quote from this man, from Dr. David Putrino. Let me see, where did it start? It says here, said the majority of the more than 300 long. Again, he said the majority of the more than 300 long COVID patients being seen at the Center for Post-COVID Care appear to have developed a dysautonomia-like condition. About 90% of such patients report having symptoms of exercise intolerance, fatigue, and elevated heartbeats. About 40% to 50% also reported symptoms such as gastrointestinal issues, headaches, and shortness of breath. That's where I belong. I belong in that 50 percentile of people that have this kind of symptoms of headache, gastrointestinal issues. Although I can breathe okay, but that's where I belong. Maybe that's where you belong. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a podcast. I hope you've learned something, you've gained something. I hope you can, from this point, educate ourselves to even do better. I hope that this vaccine that is coming will help us to fight this virus and also the residual effect of it. But more importantly, I wish all of us survive this pandemic and we are alive to see a better day. Thanks for listening to my podcast. Irene Asalaran Raju. Thank you. Bye for now.